Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the African Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa, only on this channel. And on this program, we'll bring you that information you need to keep your life safe and secured. Wheresoever the news is, we'll bring it to you. It's a wonderful day to bring this program to you. Yeah, during the week, there have been relative improved security across Nigeria and information from across Africa. Just still that some 280 school children kidnapped in Kuriga community in Kaduna State are still being sought after. And all security agencies are making and intensifying efforts to ensure that these children are returned back safe and in safety to their family and their loved ones. It's actually a sad situation, and it calls for a whole of society approach in security where the communities must be involved in providing security in their communities. When you see something, you say something. That should be the mantra of security all over. Yes, before we continue with the program with the reports from Nigeria, let me send a hearty congratulations to our friends, our partners in Gambia. Just yesterday, the president of the Republic of the Gambia, President Adama Barrow, made very landmark appointments. On the screen there is a friend of Security Watch. He was an assistant commissioner of police in the Gambian police force when we had first interaction with him. He was the last 2 years, he was Inspector General of Police when we hosted our annual Africa Security Watch Awards in the Gambia, and he supported massively. Yesterday, he was appointed as the Minister of Interior. I would say congratulations, Mr. Abdullahi Sanya, for a wonderful job you are doing, maintaining peace and law and order in the Gambia. Of course, he's a product of Nigeria indirectly, interacting with the Nigeria police force. Yes, another cheering news is my own brother, my friend, man, I can call my friend anytime, talking about Mr. Sidi Toure. Yes, Sidi Toure, he was the Director General of the Gambia Immigration Service. But yesterday, he has been appointed Inspector General of Police of the Gambia Police Force. You can see him there dancing at our event in the Gambia last year. A very jolly good fellow, a wonderful, friendly guy. He's a massive guy, and it's a good appointment for Africa. He's also a product of Nigeria, and he has so many friends in Nigeria here. Yeah, congratulations, Mr. Sidi Toure, for that appointment. Like we pray that God will give you the strength to carry on and maintain the peace in the Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa. Yes, let's go. Last week, we started a discussion on the call for military intervention in governance in Nigeria. Is it really deserving? Should there be any call of such? We couldn't conclude last week. We will continue with that discussion this week with two knowledgeable personalities, Mr. Dennis Amakre, and who is a security expert and a former Deputy Director, Department of State Security Safe Services. Is over there in the United States about monitoring what's happening in Nigeria. Yes, with him is Mr. Chimeziem Anyadike, a social commentator, a partner with Security Watch Africa. And by the way, Mr. Makri has been a partner with Security Watch Africa for over 25 years. So he's good. He was my former president, American Society for Industrial Security. Yes, but let's just take this report by Shirley Daniels on what the pressure that the Nigerian army is having to bear currently, what Nigerians are saying. Sit back.
The 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in Section 217 to 220, subsection 2b states that the armed forces of Nigeria shall maintain the country's territorial integrity and secure its borders from violation on land, sea, or air. And subsection C states that the armed forces will suppress insurrection and act in aid of civil authority to restore order when called upon to do so by the president. Today, the armed forces of Nigeria, particularly the Nigerian Army, have been called upon in many occasions to perform the above in Internal Security Operations (ISO), which particularly is the responsibility of the Nigerian Police Force. With the meager number of personnel of the Nigerian Army being deployed for ISO nationwide, it is becoming difficult for the Nigerian Army to fully concentrate on its primary constitutional role. Concerned with this, Security Watch Africa spoke with the publisher, Security Digest, Mr. Chidi Omeje, and some Nigerians on the street on their opinion on the overstretching of the Nigerian Army.
The military that ought to, focus on serious issues of external aggression and internal insurrection are now being distracted by, everyday crimes and criminalities in the society in the society today, that they are actually distracted. Now you want to ask yourself, when was the last time the military did what they call a JOPEX, that's Joint Operation Exercise? That was 2010, during the time of General Adua as the president. At that time, that was the last time the military, had that JOPEX. And, why they don't have it? They don't have it now because they don't have time anymore. They don't have the privilege of such exercise again, because they are deployed everywhere across the country. They are deployed in 36 out of 36 states of the Federation today. They are engaged in dealing with kidnappers, they are engaged in dealing with bandits, they are engaged in dealing with terrorists, they are engaged in dealing with secessionist agitators in the southeast, they are engaged in dealing with attacks on our maritime assets, they are engaged in dealing with every hue of international security challenge.
The military, their mandate is to protect the territory of this country, our borders and the rest. While the police is to protect life and property. So it's for internal security. I think the police are in more position to handle this kidnapping and other security versus.
It's very, very unprofessional for the entire country to be calling the army in issues of internal insecurity. This is supposed to be handled by a particular department of the police, professional department that should handle anti-robbery. You understand me? Just like we have the SARS before, which were, disbanded to their ineptitude. You understand me? We're supposed to have a department of the police in stages whereby a particular robbery attack can be handled by that particular department. Army is meant for external aggression. By the time you involve army in internal security, by the time you have any attack from the outside, they cannot be able to respond accordingly. So who are we going to blame?
Not the military alone. All the Nigeria security agencies are overstretched just because of a little thing we overlook. Security is everybody's business. All of us supposed to be part of the system, and especially now we have multiple security problems. If government will relate to the masses in the security, if the masses will trust the government, it will be easy for all of us to play the role. Army don't supposed to come close to that area. There are many people among us that would have done it at ease if government will cooperate with the people.
For my own view, they are not overfed. They know what to do. All the security know what to do. It's just that there are something that hijack everywhere. Hijack the securities, the soldier, police, everything. So it's not they know what to do. Everybody know what to do.
Speaking further on what should be done, Mr. Omeje advised that security agencies should play their different roles effectively.
We have the intelligence asset that complement the police effort. We have the DSS, we have the DIA, DIA for the military, we have the DSS, and then of course we have this one they call civil defense. I think that time has come for us, if I'm not going to merge them with the police, the time has come for us to decide what to do with them. Because as far as I'm concerned, they are being underutilized. It's not a question of gallivanting around and everything. No, they should be able to be deployed effectively. Even if worst come to to us. We can say the military, the civil defense, let them take care of this VIP protection. Let the police be released to do the police job. Then the civil defense guys can be trained to be able to protect the politicians and the politically exposed persons. So how can we afford to deploy about 60% of our policemen for VIP protection at a time when we are assailed on all fronts by internal security challenges? Why would we now say that military will do everything? In the first place, how many military do we have? What is the strength? What is the numerical strength of Nigerian military?
With the enormous task of protecting and defending Nigerian territorial integrity from external aggression, which is the primary responsibility of the Nigerian Army, it is expected that if every security agencies commit to their different assigned roles, the threat of terrorists and bandits coming into the territory of Nigeria will be effectively handled by the Nigerian Army, as the Army leadership under Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja has repeatedly pledged to ensure that all Nigerians are protected, which is in line with his command philosophy. Shirley Daniels, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. Yes, we just go straight into our discussions. Yeah. Of course, we're still talking about military. Yes, the discussion is still the call for military intervention in governance in Nigeria. Is it worth it? Is it something that should? Last week, we looked at a number of reasons why this call is coming in, and if it is worth it. But today, we are going to be continuing from where we left. I think I will continue from where we stopped with Mr. Amakri. He was telling us how it was, because some people called me after the program to say, oh, we never knew that the constitution will be suspended if military takes over. Mr. Makri, if Mr. Makri, it seems that so many Nigerians, I think maybe we have more of our population who did not experience, who have not experienced military regime in this country. And I don't know, is that a big problem for us?
Yeah, thank you very much, Patrick, for inviting me again. It's a very big problem, whereby some people, in fact, majority, because you see the age group of 35 downwards, most of them have not experienced military coup before. If they have experienced anything, it must be maybe the writings in the papers about coup in Niger or Burkina Faso, but in Nigeria here, they've not experienced a coup situation where you wake up early in the morning and there's martial music. Yes, martial music, and then of course everybody is asked to stay indoors. Nobody should come out. The only vehicles that are running up and down are military vehicles, and then of course the announcement from the military guys.
The popular fellow Nigerians.
The fellow Nigerians. They become fellow Nigerians then. And then, of course, after the announcement, you see people, will jump out and be happy because they feel that, the politicians who have been in power have not been doing the right thing. And then, of course, there will be these serious arrests. Of course, they will ask the police and then ask these politicians to report to the nearest police station and surrender themselves. And then, of course, the DSS itself will be looking for, some politicians, and then they will be arrested and stuff like that.
And borders will be closed, and
borders will be shut down immediately. No moving out, no moving in. And that's why you see some politicians who have an idea of it think that, if there's a military coup, I have a private jet, I'm going to run away, I'm going to run through the border. Or in fact, in those days, what we used to call Nadeko routes. Your routes. Land border, where they will run away. And all those things. But those things are not very tenable anymore. If the airports are closed, who is going to fly out? Who is going to fly you out? Who are the pilots? And then, of course, how do you get to the border to run away, disguised as either a woman or something, So that kind of call, we have outgrown it. We are no more in that kind of situation. So we shouldn't even ask for it, because by the time we get it, the first thing, during that first announcement, the first sentence or the first paragraph will tell you all the Constitution is hereby suspended, and then, of course, the legislature is also suspended, because they are the first people to be suspended, and then the judiciary is also suspended, because you have only the
tribunals,
only the military, and they will rule through the Supreme Military Council, and they are the executive, the legislature, and then, of course, they rule by decree, and then, of course, the judiciary. They can sentence you. Like I mentioned earlier, when Buhari came in, he was sentencing politicians to 100 years in prison, 200 years in prison, and stuff like that.
Really, let me go to Mr. Anyadike. He just pointed this out, and like I did point out, it's like the teeming youths who seems to be more in the terms of demography. Have not experienced what he just said. What impact do you think this social media and all these are helping in all this misinformation and underinformation that some people are getting?
Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick. During our last conversation, one of the things we pointed out is that because of the fact that Nigeria is the largest and most populous Black nation, with an estimated population of around 227 million people, 70% of these 227 million people are youths. And then 42% of these 70% are less than 18 years of age. So that goes to show you that we are looking at almost 100 million people that are less than 18 years of age. That's a very rough estimate, that have no idea, that have had no idea of what a military situation in the nation or in governance looks like. So, and because of the state of the economy, of course, it's not restricted to Nigeria alone. The global economy is tanking everywhere, and some economies have actually gone into recession. So there's a lot of hardship. So most of the stories that they've heard and most of the things they've heard about the intervention of the military in the past has always been very romantic. But they are not told, or they are not aware of some of the challenges, or some of the, should I say, strictness, I don't want to use a high-sounding word, of the military when they come in. For example, like my Oga said, Mr. Demi said, the suspension of the Constitution, So the fact still remains that because of the preponderance of social media, everybody has a smartphone right now. So you can quickly share news, you can quickly post, you can just share things without thinking about the consequences. So everybody has access.
And by the way, maybe let me cut in. And by the way, maybe when the military come in through decree, they may restrict or ban social media usage of social media.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. That is very possible. They can cut off internet, and all of us will just find out that the grass is not always greener on the other side. So the important thing is how social media is managed among young people, and how it ought to be used, judiciously by people that, that understand the dangers of misinformation. And that is one thing that young people have no idea about, that one little false information can spread like wildfire throughout the entire nation. And before you know it, we are handling a lot of issues. A lot of factors will come in, a lot of things will just come in and start distorting the whole narrative. So I think it's something that that the country needs to look at and have, identify how to quickly engage and create the awareness and consciousness of the responsible use of social media amongst the youth.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Makri, let me come to, I know that last week we did touch about these factors that are making this agitation. Some have said bad economy, which is nationwide, worldwide, and some have said bad governance. But looking at the attitude of politicians, the way they seem not to bother about the welfare of the people, and they just behave as if the whole world starts and begins and ends with them. Don't you think they are indirectly pushing this call towards such a demand for military intervention?
You're very right, Patrick. I think in a way, they are the ones that are calling for military to come. Because the way they are being very, very reckless about the whole thing, look at the history of coups in Nigeria. You will find out that most of the time, it is the politicians that are brought it. They don't on their own wake up and say, oh, let's take over the government. And when they take over the government, in their speech, they will list out what the politicians have done. They will list out everything. And people will be happy, because let me tell you, the things that are happening even right now, people are not happy at all. There is hunger in the land, there is poverty in the land, and meanwhile you are seeing, you are seeing politicians behaving like royals, even arguing among themselves who had more money.
Over 500 million largesse.
Yeah, no, it's not million anymore, Patrick. It's not million anymore. Right now, we're talking of billions and billions, we've gone to the billion level, So it has affected everywhere in society. And we cannot continue that way. They let them learn, because some of the people that have not experienced coup before are part of these legislators, I can tell you, especially in the House of Rep, and they've not. So they are busy doing all these things and then feeling that nothing will happen, or if something happens, they'll run away. I'm very, very sad. It might not happen the way they think it is going to happen, but we don't want that kind of government again. And that's why we need good governance from politicians, so that they could at least make things better. Because the whole idea of coup is, people believe that when they come, they will change everything as military with immediate effect, and then things will get better. But things don't get better, because the number one freedom of a human being is the freedom of liberty. Where freedom to happiness, freedom to all those things that you do, happily. Our social right now, like you mentioned earlier, the social media, everybody, as soon as they wake up, they look through your social media, which has canceled telephone, canceled TV, canceled everything. You can get all those things on your telephone now. When the military comes in, if they do, they are going to cancel the internet. There are some other countries in Africa where it has happened. No internet. Uganda did it, and people were just like, oh my God, where are we? And for those people, the younger ones who cannot even stay 5 minutes without being on Instagram, I'm sorry, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me come to you, and as you guys will begin to round up, because we need to look at what is the way forward. He has suggested good governance, which is one of the ways forward. How do we ensure that there is security in the land? Because it's part of the. In fact, he's taking the larger chunk of reasons why some people want the military. Maybe they will declare the martial arts and all that. 280 children taken away, still being looked for. Some Nigerians saw them being taken away, nothing is being done. Don't you think that civilians need to play more role in all this we're talking about?
Yes, I agree, absolutely, because security is everybody's responsibility, in as much as there are agencies that are tasked absolutely with responsibility, but security is everybody's responsibility. And most of the time, because of sometimes the connivance of locals in such areas where such things happen, people would not want to talk so that they don't become victims of such activities or something like that happens to them. But I believe that a robust framework of surveillance and vigilance within communities is not far from the law enforcement agencies. If they put their minds to it, if they are consistent with monitoring and surveillance, I mean, they will be able to receive intelligence and nip some of these things in the bud. And if they're unable to nip them in the bud, then they will be able to quickly, turn around the situation and get the victims back. So I think it's a question of developing a very solid, a robust framework where all the stakeholders, both the law enforcement agencies and the general civilian populace are participants and stakeholders in ensuring the maintenance and absolute sustaining of this particular framework. But it has to be robust. It has to be consistent. It shouldn't always be reactive. It has to be very, very robust and active for it to be effective.
All right. As we're rounding up, Mr. Makri, I know that one of our respondents in that report earlier shown talked about trust. Mistrust seems to be one of the reasons why we're having the people not being supporting security in working, in doing their work. How, in few words, how can we gain this trust? How can we begin to trust government and by and large trust the security agencies? Because it seems there seems to be disconnect.
There is, you are very right, there is a serious trust deficit in Nigeria between the police and the public, even the security agents. Because people are not very comfortable when they see the police around, they feel that the police is at the checkpoint stopping people, So these are the kinds of things. The trust deficit have to be cured. Because without it, no show.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. We have to leave further programs to continue. Sorry, our problem has been time. Really, it's so short for us to discuss this extensively. We're looking forward to having a longer time so we can very much discuss well. Thank you, gentlemen, for having been on this program. Thank you so much. All right, we have to leave for other programs to continue. Yes, we should have shown you our usual security tips, but I don't think we have that enough time. But follow us on all our social media platforms and join us again next week. And bye for now.